Should you buy the 15-inch M3 MacBook Air or the new M4 14-inch MacBook Pro? Well, last year I said most people should just get the Air, but this year we have gotten a lot of changes. So in this video, we are gonna compare a ton of changes and make it very easy for you to choose. Here are the full specs side by side. You guys can see there's only a difference of $100. And with the release of the M4, Apple upgraded the base MacBook Air to 16 gigs of RAM as well, which is awesome. Now, one of the biggest differences is the size and the weight. You guys can see how much larger the 15-inch screen is compared to the 14, even though it doesn't sound like a lot. Right here, you see it's actually 15.3 inches compared to 14. And if you're doing things like photo editing, video editing, I love the larger display. Now, with that, we have a big weight difference as well. Maybe based on specs, doesn't sound like it, but the 15-inch does feel a lot lighter. It is a lot thinner and easier to use on the go. I just really like the Air. Now you can also see that we have a big difference in footprint, but honestly, I think the only time where a 14-inch is more convenient size-wise is if you're on an airplane with those tiny tray tables. Now, as far as the ports on the left side, both have MagSafe charging and your Thunderbolt, but on the right-hand side, well, we get a full-size HDMI, another Thunderbolt port, and an SD card reader. So the MacBook Pro really has a heads up in ports, and when I get down to serious work, I am limited by the MacBook Air at home. I have to bring a hub with me, whereas with the MacBook Pro, it's got you covered. Now, we also have a big difference in screen technology. The new 14-inch gets much brighter, especially in bright environments, making the 15 look dim. Now, for normal indoor use, the difference isn't that big, but if you go outside, the extra brightness is really nice. And with that, when you're watching video, because of the true HDR playback with the different zone lighting, because of the extra contrast, it just looks so much better. It pops so nicely. The colors, contrast, extra brightness. I mean, it is awesome. And if you're gonna watch content at night with HDR, I mean, the 15 inches LCD just looks great. All the blacks don't look black like they do on the MacBook Pro. So that screen is amazing. It also has ProMotion, so it can be super smooth or save battery. And I mean, you just can't really compare them. Now, I will say, using them like this, if you're just gonna use web browsing, email, not much of a difference, but if you're somebody that actually really pushes it, well, this screen is awesome. Now with that, on the MacBook Pro, you can see the speaker grills here, and because it's thicker, it has more powerful speakers. So let's go ahead and listen to the difference. So as you heard, the MacBook Pro is louder, it sounds better, more natural overall, and has much deeper bass. So if you're somebody that wants to watch movies or listen to music through their speakers, I mean, this is a lot better. And now let's compare the webcams. As you guys can see, on the 15-inch Air, I'm barely visible, whereas on the 14-inch, well, you could see me, even though I'm way off to the side. And that is because it has a new center stage function. So even if I move or the laptop moves, it will center me. That is really cool. On the 15-inch, you don't have that. And right now I'm just switching back and forth between the microphones. You guys let me know which one sounds better and which one looks better. And now let's go ahead and talk about performance. Of course, we have the M3 chip and the new M4 chip. The M4 chip has 2 extra cores, and the efficiency cores, the whole architecture is newer. With that, you can also support 2 external displays plus the built-in one, which is awesome. And of course, this system has a fan built into it, where the MacBook Air is completely fanless. In Geekbench 6, you can see that the clock speeds on the M4 are also quite a bit higher, so let's go ahead and run this test. And looking at our scores here, I mean, the difference is pretty significant. We have 23% faster in single core score and 26% faster in multi-core. Now, the M3 Air is not slow. For all your regular tasks, it will handle it just fine. The M4 is just very, very fast. Now, if you're gonna push your CPU for an extended period, like here in Cinebench, that is where we can have an even bigger difference because of the fan that's in the M4. Now, looking right here, I have my computer's specs and temps here. We're already hitting 100 degrees on the Air right after we started because there's no fan to expel all that heat. And even though the M4 uses more power for its chip, it's staying consistent, actually allowing a little bit more power usage, where the M3, it's actually dropping it down. And with that, the clock speeds are staying very flat on the M4, whereas the M3, it's slowing itself down. And at this point right here, we're now at 13 watts compared to 23 right here. So let's go ahead and just let this run out, because the only way the Air can keep itself cool is by slowing down. All right, guys, that took forever with the M3, but we have our scores 596 compared to 949. So that is 60% faster for the M4. With simple quick tasks, we had a difference of 26%, and now it is 60 when you really load up the CPU. That is just insane. Now, getting into graphics, both of these have 10 graphics cores. So let's go ahead and get a compute test, which is for general purpose graphics acceleration. And here are the scores, and surprisingly, it's not very big. It's about 17% just because of the updated architecture. But once again, of course, this is just very quick, snappy things, not with the full load. So to test a longer workload, I have 3D Mark Steel Nomad Lite, the stress test here. And looking at the results here, you guys could see that obviously the M4 is higher, but over time it stays very consistent, whereas the M3 Air, the performance just slowly keeps dipping down as it gets hotter. And at the start, we have about 19% difference in performance, but by the end, we have a difference of about 40%. And if you were going to be, say, gaming or doing something else long, the difference would actually get even greater because it is fanless. So the performance difference is pretty shocking. In the previous years, it wasn't as big, but because the new M4 chip came out and because they really pushed it to have killer performance, at this point, if you care about performance, you should be buying the MacBook Pro once again. Now, if you're somebody that just uses the web browser, email, things like that, the M3 MacBook Air is still a great machine. I love how thin it is. I love the larger screen. But now that it's only a $100 difference for the same specs and we have the M4 chip, I mean, you are getting just so much more bang for the buck, features for the buck, and efficiency. It will get better battery life as well if you're not pushing it super hard. I mean, the M4 MacBook Pro is just a no-brainer unless you absolutely need to have something that is thinner and lighter. But compared to previous years, where I recommend a lot of people get the Air, this year, the 14-inch MacBook Pro just makes so much sense at that price with the 16 gigs of RAM now. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Click that circle above to subscribe. Check out one of those videos right over there, and I will see you in the next one.